It was a calm Thursday afternoon in the well-to-do neighborhood of Crestwood Hills. Sunlight dappled the pavement through rows of tall sycamore trees, and the air buzzed with quiet suburban life. Officer Rachel Morgan, a seasoned member of the local police department, was on patrol when a call came in. A suspicious black male was reportedly loitering near the entrance of an upscale condominium complex. When Officer Morgan arrived, she saw a tall, well-built black man standing outside the building, wearing a black polo tucked into pressed khakis, speaking on his phone. He was calm, confident, yet Morgan's instincts, shaped by years of subtle bias and reinforced suspicion, whispered that this could be trouble. "Excuse me, sir," Morgan called out as she approached. "Can I see some ID?" The man lowered his phone, raising an eyebrow. "I'm waiting for my assistant to bring the access card. I live here. Is there a problem?" Morgan replied, "We received a report of a suspicious person in the area. I'll need to see identification to verify your presence here." Despite the man's polite demeanor and explanation, Morgan remained unconvinced. Within minutes, the situation escalated. The man's frustration grew, but he remained composed, even as he was handcuffed and placed in the back of the patrol car. Onlookers began filming, their voices rising in protest as the officer led him away. At the precinct, the man was taken into an interrogation room and questioned for nearly an hour. The tone was suspicious, the questions invasive. "Why were you there? Who were you calling? Why didn't you have your access card? Can anyone verify your story?" Still, the man remained calm, silent, measured, dignified. And then, finally, he reached into his wallet and slid his ID across the table. The detective across from him picked it up. Her eyes widened. Back at the precinct, as the officer processed the man's ID, the room fell into stunned silence. U.S. Air Force General Michael Cole, 3-star general, former commander of the U.S. Air Force Special Operations Command, advisor to the Joint Chiefs, holder of multiple combat distinctions and the Defense Distinguished Service Medal. The very image of honor, discipline, and service to the nation. He had just returned from a classified overseas briefing and was staying at his secondary residence while preparing for a security meeting at the Pentagon the following week. The fallout was immediate. Within hours, news broke. Footage of the incident went viral. Major news outlets ran the story under headlines like, "Decorated U.S. General Wrongfully Detained in Racial Profiling Incident." Hashtags on racism flooded social media. By the next morning, the city's police chief stood before a crowd of reporters, looking visibly shaken. "We offer our deepest and sincerest apologies to General Michael Cole," the chief said. "This was an unjust and entirely avoidable incident, and we take full responsibility. It underscores the urgent need for continued reform and introspection within our department and beyond." General Cole, standing at a separate press conference, appeared in full dress uniform, medals shining across his chest. His voice was calm, but carried the weight of decades of command. "I've worn this uniform for over 30 years, he said. "I've led troops into battle. I've stood on tarmacs greeting returning heroes. But yesterday, none of that mattered. I was just another black man in America, treated with suspicion before respect. This isn't just about me. This is about what too many others endure every day, without a title or a rank to shield them." That night, Officer Morgan sat in her apartment staring blankly at the television. Every channel replayed the footage of the handcuffing. Every article highlighted her name. But what echoed loudest was General Cole's voice, calm and dignified, cutting through her like a scalpel. Morgan's throat tightened. The shame hit her like a wave, not just for what she'd done, but for how easily she had done it, how quickly she had defaulted to suspicion, how blind she had been. The following week, Officer Morgan requested a private meeting with General Cole. She arrived in plain clothes, nervous and unsure if he would even speak to her. When he entered the room, his presence was as commanding as ever, not out of anger, but principle. "I don't expect forgiveness," Morgan said quietly, "but I needed to look you in the eye. I was wrong. I saw a threat where there was none. I forgot everything I was taught about discernment and respect. And I let fear, my own bias, do the thinking for me. General Cole looked at her for a long time. Then he nodded. Accountability, he said. That's where healing begins. But change doesn't come from guilt. It comes from what you do next. That meeting changed her. She volunteered to join the department's community reform unit. She began speaking at academy training sessions, sharing her mistake, owning it openly, warning cadets of the danger of unconscious bias. And in time, the very officer who had once handcuffed a war hero became a leading voice in reshaping how her department policed, not with fear, but with awareness. The story of General Michael Cole remained more than a headline. And now so did the story of Officer Rachel Morgan. Not as a villain, but as a mirror. One that reminded a nation how easy it is to judge by skin and how hard, yet necessary, it is to see with clarity. Because change never begins with comfort. It begins with courage. Friends, if you found this message helpful, please like, share, and subscribe to our channel for more amazing content. We appreciate your support. Stay blessed.